there was a post in my Facebook group for the enrolled students in complete course for studying in Germany from a student named Varsha, who was a little bit nervous about the entire videos which are coming out about Germany and so on. So I recorded this video about this, and I just decided to share this with you because I think maybe you guys might also have similar concerns. So here's the video. Let's see. I've been receiving these kind of videos on YouTube nowadays about immigration in Germany more since Israel-Hamas war. I understand that the video focuses more on irregular immigration, but it also shows some general tendency of anti-immigration. It also talks about possible changes of political parties and political landscape. I also understand that these kind of videos are expected to some extent and that I should focus on what matters to me about moving to Germany and getting citizenship of Germany. I've been receiving these kinds of videos for other EU countries as well in general, so I'm wondering whether the decision is still right. It should not happen that I put in money, most probably a paid course, that the policies or landscape changes and getting job becomes difficult. What are your thoughts on this? What are the experiences from other people? Could you please prepare a video or guide us a bit in this regard? In the meantime, I've recently given B1 exam. I've finalized possible courses. I've been working on LORs and I've already received UPS certificate. Okay. So first of all, so the anti-immigration sentiments in Germany were always there. Like, it's not like it was never there. If you take a look at the entire east side, so you just see Germany, essentially where he has put this flag, this entire region is essentially the place where like this has been like very strong. Now it got a lot worse when a lot of like Arab refugees came inside, like people from Syria, Afghanistan and so on. And the incidents of like, stealing, rapes, knife attacks, axe attacks and so on, like started increasing in like some cities in Germany. So this is the part where like people are like, everybody who looks a little bit different, like we are a little bit skeptical of them. Indians, especially as a female, like I think you are the one who is actually not in such a big problem at all. Like even if there are any kind of like anti-immigration like sentiments, these are generally towards men and not towards women, right? Which doesn't really make this entire thing very positive, but it makes it more understandable if you understand what I mean. Right, like there are some different looking people who come to our country and they do things which are harmful to the country and to the people, and that's why we are not happy with the policies of the current government and we want to change it. I personally also really think it shouldn't have gone that far. It shouldn't have, like Germany shouldn't have become a place where just everybody can throw their passports away and just come inside and like live on government welfare. And government welfare is of course funded by the people who are paying taxes, people who are working. So that's the reason like why all of this uproar has been, because I watch a lot of like German channels, German YouTube media, things like that. So all of these things are discussed in more details. Now, what do I think about the job scenario, things like that? The thing is like the jobs would start decreasing the moment the consumption start decreasing in a country or something. The consumption start decreasing if you have lesser jobs, things like that. The value of the currency completely plummets, things like that. There are like 100 scenarios where these kind of things can happen, but these are like scenarios where it wouldn't just be Germany impacted, because the thing is like most of the EU, like the EU is essentially Germany. Like EU is running because of Germany, because Germany is providing all these loans to different kind of countries and things like that. Otherwise, if you think about EU, like what is there? Like you have Germany and France essentially. Italy has been struggling forever. Spain has the biggest problem of unemployment. Portugal is way too small to be of any kind of like major significance. You have Austria. Austria is like essentially one of the countries which kind of don't want to be in the EU itself. Like they also block other countries from joining the Schengen zone, which is Romania and so on. So I think the moment like something happens to Germany, then like I think that's a much bigger problem. Like then you wouldn't have to worry about if I made the right decision about coming to Germany, then you would have to see like, did I make the right decision to come abroad? But at the same time, like the same things could happen in India. Although I just feel like in India, like the chances are much higher that the people that they speak about, like India becoming a superpower and things like that, like till a specific age, I don't know how much of that is true, but I do think like some very good things are going to come to India, mainly because of its population and the size of the market. Like you just have so many people, and anybody who wants to start something in India like that is going to have a lot of competition. But at the same time, if you win really big. I do see the sense of, or like I do see an idea of like India as a whole becoming something really big in the future, but I really fail to believe that the working environment will change, that the attitude of people will change, that how you're treated in a job will change, that the maternity leaves, which are so much bigger and longer in Germany and EU countries, that will change, that the bosses will stop calling you on weekends will change, that you will be expected to work more than what your job description says will change, that the lower salaries will change. Like one of the reasons like the salaries are still somewhat increasing in India is because so many people every single year decide to go abroad, and then you have still more jobs available for the people who decide to stay in India, right? So there are a lot of things which are related to this, a lot of things which you have to think about. All right, that you have multiple different scenarios where things can go wrong for you in each of these countries, but if you constantly only think about this, then you will not ever, like you will not really move anywhere. Like you will not take a decision, because the only time you can take a decision is when you have some kind of surety saying that, okay, like, you know, if this changes, then I understand what are the next steps I have to do, or like if this changes, I'm confident enough that I'm going to figure out the next step from this situation. If I really think about this, like in India, like that's the main reason why I left India, right? Like I just did not really like the attitude of the people working. I did not like the attitude of the corporations. I did not like the attitude of how things are done in the banks and so on. I do not like the attitude of the police, politicians, things that I do not like this at all. So for me, like that was hell. Like that was like this kind of environment where you are not even taken seriously. That was not something I could like imagine living in at all. And I do not know if that changes. Like maybe the living standards increase, probably they will increase, and everybody has more money and so on. But does the attitude of the people change? That's the most important question that you have to ask yourself. For me, that was the biggest priority. That's the reason I decided to move abroad, because I was like, okay, like I want to have my weekends off. I want to have my Saturday and Sunday where I can do anything I want, where I can have my own hobbies, things like that. But I definitely do not want to live in a place where I have to work from Monday to Sunday, and even on Monday to Saturday, and even on Sunday, sometimes the boss can call and ask me to do something. Right? So that's the most important thing that I wanted to share with you, that you think of this yourself. That if you think you can have a nice life in India, like so many people have a nice life in India, right? Like they're completely happy, they're close to the family and so on. So if you think like, you know, that's a better choice, then of course, like, you know, home is always open. Like the doors for India will always be there, always be open for you. But like growing your character by trying to experience something different, by being abroad and like understanding a different culture, learning some new things, skills and so on from this culture, making money so that you can also like help the family back out. I think these are all the things which you can definitely think about doing. And anytime something changes, like I said, home is always there. You can always go back. So that's something that you have to think about. Then you also have people, of course, on the other side who are like, you know, if you go to Germany and like if you take the German citizenship, don't ever come back to India, things like that. Like you have like those retards too on the other side. But they are always happy. These are the exact same people who are extremely happy when Rishi Sunak, for example, becomes the Prime Minister of India, when he has absolutely like nothing to do with India other than like, you know, coming from the same heritage. Same with Satya Nadella, like goes to US, studies there, works there, becomes the CEO of Microsoft, every single one of these people are happy. Again, that like some Indian left the Indian citizenship, took the foreign citizenship, became something there, then they're happy. They have no problems at all there. But this transition phase where you're building up to something, that is the part where people don't understand, right? So that is the part that you definitely have to ignore. The same with like Sundar Pichai and so on. Like so many Indians move abroad, like give up their citizenship, things like that, not because they want to, because they have to, because India does not allow dual citizenship. So they give up their citizenship, they do something in the new country, and then everybody's happy. So like you just have to think about like all the possibilities which can come to you, which are a possibility, which could result to something nice, something big. And if all of that makes sense, I think like, then you can make a nice decision for yourself. For me, all of those things made sense because you always have the safety net of going back to your parents back home. And there's like not much you have to lose other than money. But I think the thing which you can regret more about losing is all of these experiences, all of this time wasted and so on. I think that's pretty important that you have to remember. We do different things. Most of the Indians come for like, qualified professions. You're working here as engineers and doctors, nurses and so on. So people definitely respect that. And you are not put in the same bucket like everybody else. If you want to start studying in Germany, learn German, find jobs in Germany, find freelancing work, whatever, we have courses for every single one of these things on Big Academy, and you can find the links for that in the description.